I think I'm ready.
You're live.
What? It says just that I need to go live.
It went live.
Okay, I guess I'm live, guys. Alrighty. Hi, IT guy. If you were lucky enough to hear him. Alright. So I am going to do that. And just check this down live. So, what do you know? Alright. So, if you're in the chat, say hey. We're here. IT guy, we're going to hang up. So, got him. Oh no, that was by Team Viewer. Sorry guys. I'm going to have to, I'll be right back. Okay, not sure what's going on here. Got to make sure I'm live. Okay, still says I'm live, right? I'm confused now, guys. I know I'm a little delayed, so I'm going to see what's going on. I'm sorry about this, because I'm about to hit that spot in what I can see in the delay to make sure that I'm still live. So we'll see if I disappear off of my camera. So if not, we'll keep going. I apologize that this is happening, but this is what happens sometimes with a stream, especially when IT guy isn't around. He'll be home tomorrow. Hooray! So I'll be glad about that. So okay, it looks like I'm still there. Hooray! 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 So we're gonna be happy about that. And we've turned on our little fan because it is now hot in here. Okay, friends, go back to the chat where I can see you guys. Pick that up. So again, if you're there, okay, friends, I think we're back live. Let me know, IT guy. I'm going to go about 15 minutes with that. Turn that up a smidge. It suggests, actually, that we save some of these lovely little hopefully I'm back. Hopefully you guys can see me. Put that in there. And then I'm going to put this all to the side. So, again, lots of fronds. So, if anybody's back, I would appreciate you letting me know. IT guy, you there? Oh dear. Okay, I can type, so great. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I would say Monday glitch, but it's Tuesday, so what are we going to do about that? Anyway, today we're making German food. German food. We're starting off. We've got some fennel, and we put that in boiling water. That's going to go in there for about 15 minutes. And I got a lot to do today. That's my to-do list. So I'm going to grab a pen, and I'm going to check things off as I go. So I've got my water boiling. I trimmed my fennel. We're going to boil that for 15 minutes. While that's getting ready to do its thing, thank you. I appreciate that, IT guy. We're going to start by cutting up a red cabbage. This had leaves on the outside. I did rinse it, but we're going to rinse it again because, you know. Oh, goodness gracious me. But I'm going to slice up this red cabbage. This is one I don't make very often. Wouldn't be a favorite of IT guy, so I figured this is his last day being gone, so I'm making it for Mr. 513 and myself. And look, you could shred this, you can do it however you want. That's the thing about a lot of dishes, and some people would say shredding it would be better. I just slice it very thinly, so it'll be in like little small pieces about that big. So that's my way of doing it. If you really wanted to put some sausage in here, if you wanted to put some bacon in here, all of those things would work. I actually have, for later this week, I was going to make 2 different kinds of cabbage, but I don't think I have enough time. So I'm just going to go with this red cabbage, and then I will. That's a bad piece. Just had a little bad spot on it. That's all. And then I will chop this up and nibble on it for the rest of the week, and then on Friday, when I'm not cooking it for you guys, we might go ahead and record it. I have a recipe for a German hot slaw that is yummo. Has bacon, and it's easy to make. Very easy. Been making it for decades. And it's just a few ingredients. Some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of sugar or honey, bacon, slaw. Remember, I think there's one other thing. Can't remember what it is, but anyway, it's so good. And I know Mr. 513 was a little disappointed when he heard I wasn't making it today, but I promised I'd make it for him later this week. So when you could trim that a little closer, that's about as good as you're going to get from me. So you could put that in a soup if you wanted to, and that would soften it up. But for today, we're going to deal with it that way. I also have a question. If there are any gardeners out there, if I were to plant potatoes, yes it is, and you can either make it, and today I'm just going to do this. My husband loves this brand of potato salad, so, and that's the other thing. My husband's a type 1 diabetic, so he needs carb burner, and what I'm making doesn't have a lot of carbs, so I'm making the potato salad so he will have some carbs to go with his dinner, because it's a very veggie-based dinner, if you will. So, hey Joan, welcome in, and also P-Mart. Welcome into you two guys. It feels like it's been forever. I know it's only been about 4 days, but it just feels like it's been such a long time since I did a live video. And like today is, I don't know, it's been cool the last days, and it just kind of felt like I needed a fall type meal, even though it's 80 degrees today. But we're gonna rinse this real quick, and we're gonna leave that to drain. So I just feel like with everything going on, you want to just rinse your veggies really well. So I would like to be better at growing some of this stuff. And I think I'm going to try this this next season to, as somebody said, instead of being a hobby gardener, to actually be to create a garden that will actually feed us. So I'm going to order in, and I know it won't be good for a year or two, but I'm going to get some asparagus, I'm going to put some seed potatoes in, and that was the question. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, we didn't really have a chance to do that, but Sunday, tomorrow is my daughter-in-law's birthday, and for her birthday, she asked if we would all walk in a charity walk, which we did. So, that was pretty awesome. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to put together some sauerkraut real quick. Doesn't really matter. This is the brand I'm using today. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who think it matters, but we like sauerkraut, so we don't have a preferred brand. We don't make it ourselves. I know you can do that. Never something I've really aspired to do, because I also live in a very German city. It is everywhere. We don't even need to get it jarred, to be honest. We could get it fresh. So, yes, happy birthday to her. And for those who have been around and those who have been in the know, my daughter-in-law's sister passed on Friday. So, rough day. It was a rough day. And we wish them every kindness. We wish them, and it's just a rough way to go. So, that's part of why IT Guy will be home tomorrow, because his brother went home on Saturday to be with their dog. Just FYI, onion powder, dried onions, little squidge of honey. Because, yeah, we do that with sauerkraut. At least we do. Not much. Like I said, that's about a teaspoon of honey. And then I learned this from my best friend, who married someone who's German. And I'm German too, but his parents immigrated, where my German ancestors came here a while ago. So I have, and now I'm half British, and I'm essentially half British, half German, with a smattering of other things thrown in there. This I will say. But my original ancestor, British ancestor, came over on the second set of ships with William Penn, which is kind of cool. They were Quakers, which is kind of funny. When I found that out, I was like, oh, this is probably why I don't like the idea of war and conflict and all that stuff, because Quakers were very much conscientious objectors. So, however, my 5 times great-grandfather did participate in the Civil War. By that time, they were no longer in Pennsylvania. They were in Ohio. So I've had relatives in Ohio since, I think, I think before we were even a state, which is pretty amazing. And my ancestors also lived in a town called Felicity, Ohio, which was very active in the Underground Railroad. So, as a farmer, which he was, I like to think that perhaps they participated in helping people to be free. Because part of why Felicity was such a big deal was it was a part of the Ohio River where, at that time, you didn't have to be the greatest swimmer to get across. There was a lot of, it tended to be very shallow. So, just sharing what I know. But we take about a half, for this size of a can, we take about a half of an apple and we just dice it up nice and tiny. So, yeah, that one was hard. My uncle, like I said, he lived a great life. He was a good man. He did, he had done his service to his country, to his family. So that one was not as sad as this one. And so my daughter-in-law is heading home tomorrow because she had surgery last month and needs to go to her follow-up. Miss Fennel are cooking away there. I'll get those in a minute. Okay, so I've got all that in there. Rinse my hand real quick. As we do. And give that a little mix. Give that just a. Oh yeah, I have been to the museum down there, and for those who don't know, we have the National Underground Railroad Museum in our downtown area, and we went on a school field trip, and the teachers sat with the kids and said, any adult, there's an adult section, and I went in, and I usually don't do that kind of stuff because it tends to really bother me, and to say it was life-changing would be an understatement. So I'm going to pop this in the oven because it can cook nice and slow. Put a lid on it so it doesn't get all icky. So that's just going to go in the oven here. But yes, if you ever get to Cincinnati and you're the kind of person who can handle that, it is a definite must-see. I also just realized something. I've been using these and I wasn't using them today, so. Oh, well, Clausen is amazing. As somebody who has eaten German potato salad or German food my whole life, pickles, they're everything they make. Great. So we're going to pull this off of here. And we're going to drain these. I'm going to drain these into a small colander real quick. We're going to let them just rest for a couple of minutes and cool a bit. Put that on the sink. The other thing I'm going to do, like I said, was I'm going to pop this in the oven. This will be nice for Mr. 513. So the other thing, though, it's funny, P-Mart, I just found out this weekend, because I have not been down there. I've not been down on the riverfront in so long. They've extended the park way down to where the Bengals Stadium is, which I know doesn't mean things to everyone, but there's also a black musician Walk of Fame, which is very cool. And I didn't get to see it, but now I'm like, we got to go back down. This needs, I mean, I could add bacon to it. I could add sausage to it. But if I was going to do that, I'd make my own. Today, it's just about this. So I'm going to pop this in the oven to warm it up as well. And then next, I'm going to chop up an onion real quick. I'm going to do it this way. I don't normally do it like this, but I'm going to do it like this today because I want to get this done quickly. And hopefully I won't cry. So anyway, but yeah, so I want to get back down there and see the Black Music Hall of Fame and, or the Walk of Fame, and then spend some time in the park. We we did this charity walk, and my grandchildren saw the park, and that's all they wanted to do for a while was just run at the park. So we did. So we were literally the last people who finished the walk on Sunday because we even followed they have a lead car and they have a trail car, and the trail car had already gone back and the streets were open and everything else by the time we got back. So it was no big deal. Nobody cared, but it was just funny. We just thought it was funny that we were literally the last people there. So we fulfilled our walk. We just didn't fulfill it in the same amount of time that most people did. And that's why I don't usually do it like that, because it will scooch away from you. So anyway, but I can get it done pretty quickly this way. And Mr. 513 doesn't care if I got big chunks of onion in there. So next we're going to get the cabbage dish started. So I was going to do a full hour. I think I'm just going to do the one that's in there. So, hey, Ruby, good to see you. So I'm going to get some oil in that pan, and then I'm going to get some of what we call my butter, because it's got the plant sterols in it to help with cholesterol and the like. Get that in there. I'm going to need that again, so I'll keep that right where it was. Okay. And I am going to turn that down just a tad. I'm not going to nibble on those today. I'm going to let it go. But yeah, I'm going to get the onion in there, get that going. So, yep, if you haven't subscribed yet, I always forget to say that, but if you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps us immensely. We're on the quest to get to 1,000 subscribers. And it's really interesting. I just found out that only about 1% of the people who are on YouTube ever make it to that spot. So, so we'd like to be in the 1% there. That was weird. I bit into that and I forgot I had cut up an onion with it. So my apple tasted a little oniony. Oh well. These things happen. So anyway, anybody else out there German? Just curious. It's funny because I've gotten so many recipes from German people in my life, and German cooking just kind of comes naturally to me because of my life. And just in case you are wondering, I even brought these. I brought my receipts today. These are some of my favorite cookbooks.
and they are from a local organization. Um, we just call it Donnerschwaben, but they are a German group. The original founders were all from Germany, and their kids, and sometimes now their grandkids and great grandkids, are all part of the club as well. And they have yearly events. Every one of them has their own Oktoberfest. We have, I think, we used to have a bunch, but I think there's only two of the German societies left. One is Donnerschwaben and one is called Kolping. I'm not sure if we have any more. Still, those are the only two I know of that are still in operation, but they're German. One of my best friend's husband used to be a German. He used to do German dance. He and his brothers, they had a German band. They traveled all over the region. And Ruby, you may know this spot. They used to play in Frankenmuth in Michigan, and there's somewhere in Indiana. I think they played at their Oktoberfest as well. So, okay, German and Dutch. You know what? One of IT guy's best friends is, I believe she's Dutch and also from Hamilton. So interesting. So that's pretty cool. I love stuff like that. I am going to grab my next little dish here while that stuff is doing its thing. I'm going to let that just cook for like a minute. And while that's doing that, I'm going to grab my fennel. Hot, but not too hot to move like that. And then it says to cut it this way. Whew. Again, like I said, to move it was one thing. To hold it is another. So it says to cut it and remove the hard core, which is still hard. So how do we do that? We put a glove on, that's what we do. It's not so daggone hot, probably. Actually, I'm going to get a paring knife. I think that'll work better. I love having my knives right there. So, oh, you do know IT guy. Okay, I think I know who you are then. I will stay mum about that, but hooray. So, pretty cool, man, that you're hanging out with us. So, ow, ow, ow. So anyway, hot, burning my fingers. I will not let go. Okay, part of me thinks this would have been much easier to do when it was still cold. You know what I mean? Before I cooked it. But then it probably would have fallen apart just like it already did. So, who knows? But, okay, so that one's done. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here because I think it needs it. Put some added moisture in there. I don't want it to cook down too much before we add in our cabbage. Yelling at me because I'm not on the burner right. So, Kmart, I should get some Dutch recipes from your family then. Make some lovely Dutch food. I'm a collector of recipes and dishes and family favorites and things like that. I had never had, well, I shouldn't say that. I tried to make something called porcupine meatballs one time when I was a teenager. I made them all wrong, and it was a horrendous mess. And then I met my husband, and his mom had a recipe for it. And she, all right, I just put some onion powder in there. I am going to put, again, just a tiny bit of honey, maybe about a teaspoon or so. It's the best honey I've ever had in my life. Hands down. I'm not much of a honey person. So about a teaspoon of honey, and I'm going to do about a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. A lot of German cooking has vinegar in it. A lot. Pretty much anything with cabbage seems to have vinegar in it too. So, yeah, my mother-in-law taught me porcupine meatballs, and it is something that my family loves. And the thing is, my mother-in-law's recipe was made with Campbell's tomato soup, which I can no longer eat. So we have to find alternatives. They're still good, they're just not quite the same. I need to learn how to make copycat. Um, there we go. I'm going to let that sit. We're going to turn that way down. Just let it simmer. So, Joan, porcupine meatballs are, they are a beef meatball that we put instant rice in it. Now, I have heard other people say you can parboil regular rice and put it in there. We always just went with minute rice. And then I add garlic, of course, like I always do, and a chopped onion to mine. That one I did get from my mother-in-law. But then you cook them in tomato soup, and they're really good with mashed potatoes. And of course, in my husband's family, had to be green beans for dinner when you did that. So, so there's that. Oh, that little hard piece is still in there. You little stinker. So, all right. This is a lot of work, y'all. Like I said, I've never made fennel before, but this particular one has been a bit of hard work. So at this point, unless it's amazing when I get it out of the oven, I'm not sure it's worth it. So I am also going to maybe cut a little further into this, so maybe that'll make it easier to get that center out as the leaves start falling off. Sometimes you have to let, oh, look at that. Now the course is coming right out, but leaf by leaf. Well, that's goofy as all get out. You know what? Let it do it. We're not going to do it the way they said, because it's a pain. Ow! That's hot. Okay. So, well, P-Mart, now you'll know when IT guy says his mom is a nut, you'll know he's not telling a lie. Of course, you probably already knew that. Because if you are who I think you are, your sister knows me as well. So, unless you are the sister. So there we go. All right, so this is pretty simple to finish up. It says to put a little bit of butter on it, which we will do. There's my butter knife. That is about all I need for the whole pan. So, I love a good homemade mashed potato, but if I'm in a hurry, we found a brand at Costco that's good. A little heavy on the salt, but man, they just make life really easy when we want quick and easy mashed potatoes. So there we go. We got some butter mushed around there. Yeah, I know a lot of people add like sour cream and stuff like that. Not my thing. Um, Halupki. I don't know that one. So, is that Polish? Sounds like a Polish dish. So, yeah, P-Mart, I do need to, I do want to make my own tomato soup. I've done it a few times and I've just never gotten it. The thing about Campbell's is kind of sweet. I've never quite gotten that sweetness. I don't want to just load it up with sugar. So, all right, that's an Alpine blend. It's Gouda and Swiss, but we kind of like cheese in this house, or at least I like cheese a lot. So I'm going to add a little bit of mozzarella to it, just to give it a little more cheesiness. And it's got the salt from the butter, and I'm going to add, I didn't bring my pepper over, so I'm going to grab my pepper. And add a little bit of pepper in there. Fun fact, and I think I've shared this before, but pepper, one of the most valuable things about pepper is that it helps you absorb other nutrients. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. Actually, I'm going to pop this in the oven. It really just needs to melt. So it's going in with all the other stuff for now. And I am going to open this up and give it a stir. We're getting there. It's starting to wilt. The weird thing about purple cabbage is depending on how you cook it, it will turn red. Sometimes it turns a little brown. It's a very interesting kind of veggie. Okay, so turn it up just a tad. I actually want to get some of the juice off the bottom. Nice. I like it. Sounds great. I found a recipe today, and I'm going to need to try it out before next month we're doing soup every day, and this isn't a soup recipe. It's kind of an unstuffed cabbage roll, but like the cabbage roll itself is a giant meatball. And then you are like a patty, more like a patty. But then you brown it on each side and then cook it, rather than having to roll it up and do all that business. And I'm like, ooh, we might have to try that. So we'll have to see how that goes. So I'm going to start cleaning up. We've got this going. And then get all of our stuff put to the side here. That needs to go back in the fridge. We don't need any more knives. Just kind of trying to clear the space because next, it will not take long at all. We're going to talk about brats. This is what I grew up thinking is a brat. Now, I'm right, it is a brat, but it is not what the rest of the world thinks of as a brat. And I did not know this was a Cincinnati thing until I was an adult. So, crazy, huh? I mean, I knew about Geta, I knew about Skyline. I did not know that our brats were so different than everybody else's brats. So I'm going to pop one of these guys in the air fryer. And you can boil these. They're fully cooked. They basically just need to get warm. But you can boil them. You can fry them. You can grill them. Grilled is the best, to be honest. Air fry gives it it's kind of a close second. So I'm just going to pop one of these in here. And the reason I'm doing that is it'll only take a few minutes when Mr. 513 gets home for him to do it for himself. So up to air fry. We're going to go 400. You know what? I'm going to do 425, but I'm only going to go for about, we'll go 6 minutes and see what it looks like. So in my description, I promised that I would talk about the history of these brats. And apparently there's beef, pardon the pun, because it's all pork, but we have beef. Yes, definitely. Um, okay, so apparently we have beef with Wisconsin because our brats are made with the same ingredients. What makes them different from one another is that our brats are modified like a um, like a hot dog. Theirs are not. So after they're emulsified and they're put in their casings, then they are put into a water bath, which turns them from pink to their signature white color. So that is, if you ever hear of a Sheboygan brat from Wisconsin, it's the same brat cooked differently. Like it's assembled and cooked differently, which I find fascinating. We also have something here called a Met. Yet another thing I didn't realize was when you go to a cookout here, you don't usually get hot dog or hamburger. You get brat, Met, or burger. Yes, some people, if there's kids involved, there's almost always hot dogs. If not, brats and Mets tend to be the more adult food. And it's funny, as a kid, I didn't like Mets, and a lot of people don't because there's a lot more spice. Not, there are spicy Mets, don't get me wrong, but there's just more spices in them, and one of those spices is mustard seed. And as a kid, biting into a mustard seed just grossed me out. So I didn't like Mets then. I like them a lot more now, and they are delicious. So yes, and up in Milwaukee, you've got a lot of German, you've got a lot of Polish. Um, there are sausages everywhere in the state of Ohio. Because there's a lot of Eastern Europeans and Germans. We have, there's a place in Columbus called Schmidt's, and they have some of the best sausages you'll ever eat in your life. They're absolutely delicious. But I was going to see if there was something else. So yeah, I think I got everything. And part of that is, like I said, we have a huge German population. In the 1840s, we had a huge influx of immigrants from the German. And as a matter of fact, one of the restaurants that's been around since I was a child just recently closed down. And it made me so sad because um, there's just dishes you don't normally make at home that you get at these lovely German restaurants. One of them is sauerbraten. It sounds like a terrible name, but sauerbraten is it's really unique. It's a piece of very tough beef, typically, and you make a marinade and you use ginger snaps in there. So I have actually made that one gluten free. I think I might even have. I'm pretty sure I have a video about that, but that's one of our. But the thing about sauerbraten, it takes like 3 days to make. So you make it, you put it in the marinade, and then you have to cook. You're sit in the marinade for like 3 days. You flip it around and you squish it around and stuff like that. So, but one of the other things, and I'm thinking about making some of these later, when we start to talk about appetizers for the holidays. One of the things we make here, everybody had their own recipe with sauerkraut balls, and it's a sausage and sauerkraut kind of dumpling almost, but it's deep fried, and they are so good. So anyway, yeah, I might do more German food for that reason, and maybe towards the end of September, if I'm making certain soups, I'll make an Oktoberfest. The weird thing about Oktoberfest is it's in September. I have no idea why. I guess I could research that. But Oktoberfest is in Germany for 3 weeks. It's the third weekend here in September. Um, it might be the fourth weekend this year. I'm not sure, but because Labor Day it can only be one day earlier than it is this year. So because Monday is the 31st. If Monday was the 1st, then it would be the not the earliest, the latest it can be. So anyway, but I think I really got it all in there. I can't believe I got it all in there in less than an hour. So let's do some plating. I'm going to get the stuff out of the oven. I'm getting it out, and then I'll put it back in so that it stays warm for Mr. 513. I'll be so happy. Alrighty. Let's see if I might need a third one. We'll see. Okay. Go grab the stuff out of there. Okay. Cheese is all melty from the fennel. Sauerkraut doing its thing. And there's not much of the potato salad, so I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of that. Okay. How are we doing with this guy? Honestly, I could make it go longer if I wanted to, but I don't think I will. Where is my clotted spoon? There it is. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of the potato salad. I guess I'll leave most of that for Mr. 513. Use the slotted spoon to get a little bit of the sauerkraut. Now, most people eat their brats on a bun. Y'all know I am gluten free. I could get some hot dog buns that are gluten free, but I'm just going to go with this for now. Okay, get that cheesy business. Come on, I want my cheese. Thank you. All right, and then the juice is almost gone. That's about perfect. Yeah, I got it down to its lowest setting, so that'll be fine for just a minute. If I went a couple more minutes on the brat, it would be nice and browned in there. But see, it's just starting to brown. So depending on how you like them, if you like them more browned than that, you might want to go about 7 or 8 minutes. And this kind of food is the kind of food you eat together. Yes, Joan, you probably would. We should get you up here for Oktoberfest or something one of these days. That would be fun. So, although it's quite the spectacle down there sometimes. We're the kind that go down early, like on a Sunday, before the Bengals people get down there and all that stuff. The earlier the better. So, and the thing is, I've eaten this a gazillion times. Most people eat it with mustard. If I'm going to put anything on my brat, it's going to be ketchup. I'm a ketchup person. So, I know. Lose my German card for that because I'm not a big fan of mustard. The nice thing is the sauerkraut, it still has a sourness to it, but it doesn't like, I don't need things that are so sour that they make my jaws hurt. That's how I like that. Um, oh, I didn't know there wasn't one in Fairfield. Is that the one at Colping, or you'll have to let me know. And then, again, I haven't really zhuzhed this up, so it's good. There are places, one thing about the influx of uh, the German immigrants, we have a lot of butcher shops, and most of them are still in existence. Um, there's at least two within a couple miles of me, and where I grew up around the west side of town, um, there are at least five or six, and you would go to different ones for different things because they all have specialties, and it's kind of wild. So that's all kind of expected. Haven't made the cabbage in a while. Um, oh, Germania, that's the other society. Okay. Okay, on the cabbage. Okay. I usually make it with sausage or bacon, so there's a saltiness to it. I did not do that. It needs salt. But the brats themselves are salty. So if I eat the brat with the cabbage, and is also a little crunchier than I know Mr. 513 would like it, so I will leave that on its lowest setting, and I will put that lid back on it and let it just steep a little more and get softer. Got it. Mm. P-Mart, service hours are service hours, right? So are you an Eagle Scout? Inquiring minds want to know. We have a lot of Eagle Scouts around here too. All right. I'm telling you, one of these days, either you're gonna make it up here, or I'm gonna make it down there, and I'm gonna cook for you. Um, and if anything, this past week has taught me those things kind of need to happen sooner rather than later, if possible. Mm. Okay, so let's talk fennel. I can still taste the licorice taste, which I'm not repelled by licorice. It's not my favorite thing. I used to, as a kid, one of my favorite candies was Good and Plenty. IT guy too. They have another thing I had to give up when I became gluten free because yes, Good and Plenties do have wheat in them. So it's interesting. I just got a green part, a lot of fibers. Um, Not super impressed to be honest. It's okay. I know it's really good for you, but truth be told, I wouldn't go out of my way to do it again. I just don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough return, if you will. Yeah, that's one of the hard pieces. I don't want that. So the cheese is definitely the best part of that day. Mm. Which is funny because I got that recipe from um, a website that It's like just like Oma or something like that. Oma is the German word for grandma. So there you go. Oh, there you go. Roast chicken. Awesome. So there you have it. That's today's little German feast. Um, I would replace this, something we have a lot, because Germans do eat a lot of sour food. A lot of times they'll have it with roast chicken because it's kind of a, when they roast it, they're really rich, and it goes really well with those sides. Also, baked beans has some sweet to balance out that sourness. So that's true. But like I said, the fennel's okay. I have to look up, see if there's something I can do with all those fronds. It seems a shame to waste it all. And if nothing else, I'll probably pull off all the fronds and see if I can dry them and make them a seasoning. So anyway, we've done well. We've done it within the hour, and that's kind of where we are. Tomorrow we are doing cheeseburger in a bowl. That's a quick, easy one, and I was surprised that Mr. 513. Actually, no. Tomorrow is we're doing a taco skillet. So I can't remember which one he picked, but we're doing one day and one the other. So that's the rest of the week, is that we're doing a taco skillet made with ground turkey, and we're doing a cheeseburger in a bowl. So yes, we're gonna attempt lettuce. So we've actually already had a salad with the lettuce that we bought. We bought some whole romaine lettuce. I just figured the less it's processed, the more likely I am to actually be okay on the inside. I'm still a little paranoid. What can I say? But anyway, I hope you guys will come back tomorrow. If you haven't, like I said, if you haven't subbed, please do. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out. Hopefully we'll have our Christy back with us tomorrow. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember to eat well and be well. I love you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.